It's week 5 of the high school football season, and we are here to tell you all about it again. Once again, all of our coverage later tonight on the air, KMA 960, KMA FM 99.1. Begins at 6:20 with the Iowa Western Community College High School Football Preview Show, followed by the Red Oak Chrysler Football Connection Show, and he will be joining me. And we've got 22 reporters out at 22 different sites tonight, as well as the scoreboard show after that, brought to you by Keist Chevy in Oakland, Keist Auto Center, your Ford and GM dealer in Harlan. And let's get into those Red Oak Chrysler football games, shall we, Ryan? We're going to talk about 22 games and start out with Class 2A District 8. Shenandoah at Clarinda, maybe the most important or hyped, or I don't know, whatever you want to pick a word out. It's the biggest Page County Super Bowl in quite some time.
It really is. It's a Shenandoah team that's 4-0 for the first time in a long time, in 1987, and they're going over to play a Clarinda team. Shenandoah, they're having success running the football. They're going to be, they just keep finding ways to win football games. Clarinda, they're a little dinged up. They've lost 3 straight games, and they've seen the veer offense like what Shenandoah runs. They've seen AHSTW, who runs a little bit of veer in their set. I talked with Coach Shilp. He also saw some veer with Glenwood's JV, so he thinks he's got the right defensive alignment set up to try to stop that. It should be a good game.
Do you also notice that maybe in the past years where Shenandoah wasn't 4-0, you'd start seeing guys with just jerseys on the sideline with injuries. You sat out 7 or 8 games one year. Nonetheless, there are injuries happening for Shenandoah. Everybody wants to play. And there are injuries where a doctor holds you out. But there are also injuries where players make the decision. And you're not seeing that anymore. Shenandoah 4-0. Everybody wants to play. Kemper is at Red Oak tonight with Matt Hayes. By the way, Brent Barnett's going to be in Clarinda for that Page County Super Bowl. Matt Hayes in Red Oak. Kemper, Red Oak. Kemper has 1 win. It was in district against West Central Valley. Red Oak has a couple of wins. They beat West Central Valley last week. The scores are very, very similar, so I'm really interested. I think this might actually be a pretty good game. Like Coach Barry Bauer said, one of the big things that came from an interview I did with him earlier this week was it's not a mismatch anymore. They feel like they can play with Kemper, or it's one thing for him to feel that way. Do the players feel that way? They've got to have the confidence going in. Otherwise, we can talk matchups all day long, but that's the big thing. Confidence and believing in yourself for Red Oak, and I think they've got a shot. Fremont Mills is at East Mills. That's our big game there in Class 8-man District 8, and it's a battle of unbeatens, and it's always fun.
It really is. It's a rivalry game that's really blossomed. You think back to when Fremont Mills won the state championship, one of their biggest tests that year was against East Mills. Fremont Mills, they're undefeated, 2 straight shutouts. They really have not been tested this year. They pretty much play the varsity for a half and then put it on cruise control. East Mills, on the other hand, they had a dogfight last week. They beat a good Stanton team and what was a really good game. East Mills' defensive line starting to do some good things. They've got Josh Hopkins. They've got Ben Christensen at the skill spots. It's a really good East Mills team. See if the depth's there, and for Fremont Mills, see if these starters have to go into the 3rd or 4th quarter, see if they're ready to do that.
Not only was it one of their toughest tests, it was the test for Fremont Mills. I'm talking about 2011. East Mills is probably the 2nd best team in the state that year. Cam at Sidney, also an 8-man 8 game, and Kent Larson is in Sidney, which he always is for us. Cam is coming off the victory over Essex. Sidney has yet to win in district play, so this is an interesting matchup here. Drew Tickner, of course, leads the way for Cam. He throws, he passes, or those are the same 2 things. He passes, he runs, he kicks, he plays good defense as well. He even had a reception last week as well. Sidney, they really want to get that offense on track after playing a couple of good defenses the last couple of weeks. Micah Graham back there in the backfield, they love to use him. He's got great game-breaking ability. I think we might see a high-scoring game in this one. Lennox at Nishnabotna, also an 8-man District 8. Mike Still is there. Of course, Lennox still unbeaten.
Lennox is really good, and you look at a guy like Carson Klein leading the way for him. Every week it seems like he's throwing for triple digits, running for triple digits or close to that. Sam Donaldson and Jared Hensley in the backfield, and then Spencer Brown. He had another sack last week. He still leads the state all classes in solo sacks. He's really playing well. Nishnabotna, they're going to try to rebound. They've got a tough stretch here. Fremont Mills last week. Now they got Lennox this week. So see if they can get back on track. See if they can find a way to neutralize Spencer Brown and let their offense work. They do like to throw the ball a little bit.
Essex at Stanton is the other 8-man District 8 game, the final one there. Essex has not won in District. They haven't won since week 1. And again, that's one of the teams that's really just been injured and banged up and lost some very important key pieces. And I mean, they were playing down a couple of quarterbacks last week. So we'll see if they're healthier this week. Stanton, of course, they're going to be angry coming off of their first loss of the season to East Mills. And same kind of story with them. You've got Connor Holtman throwing the ball out to his options, Brady Johnson, David Sorensen. He's got Alex Bechtel and Chris Jones in the backfield. And always throughout the year, the defense kind of overshadowed it, although last week defense maybe got banged up a little more or beat up a little more in terms of points being allowed and yards being allowed. So they'll be looking to make a statement tonight. Nottoway Holt, South Holt is our 8-man. Well, Nottoway Holt, South Holt is one team. At Worth County is our 8-man battle, and they're in Missouri. And Greg Abbott is in Grant City tonight.
And a good matchup here. Two teams that are kind of coming off different games last week. Worth County, they solved Rubik's Cube. They were able to hold Northwest Nottoway's offense down. Worth County, you also got a guy in Brevin Ross in the backfield. He's almost over 1,000 yards for the season already. And for on the other end of the spectrum, Nottoway Holt, South Holt, kind of a crushing loss last week. Give up a touchdown with a second left to Albany, and then give up the 2-point conversion that cost them. Their quarterback, Alan Ottman's back. The other player to watch for Nottoway Holt, South Holt, Zach Walker, 112 tackles already in 5 games. The guy's crazy. I mean, he's all over the field on defense.
The watch is on for 200 tackles. That's what we're looking for. I mean, he's got at least 5 more games left, or 6, 7, 8. Yeah, at least 5 more games left. So he could get to 200. Nonetheless, a lot of people were talking about Stanberry and North Andrew, 1-2, or other way around. Worth County, watch. I think they might be the best team in the state. Maryville at Benton. That's our Midland Empire Conference game tonight in St. Joe. Tom Alvarez has updates from that one. Spoofhounds, they just spread it around. They got 4 backs they can give it to. They've got a great quarterback. They've got terrific defense. They got a heck of a head coach as well. And again, they'll be a big-time favorite there in St. Joe tonight. On we go to Nebraska. Auburn at Falls City. Eric Chamberlain is there. And Eric Chamberlain's going to tell us about this matchup.
I think you skipped one there.
Skip one?
Skip
Omaha Christian at Lord Central Catholic. This guy, he just researches he just looks at the games he has to do, and then he won't do anything else. So, I mean, I try to pull a fast one on him there. Omaha Christian at Lord Central Catholic. Okay, go ahead.
All right, Omaha Christian here. They're coming in. They're 0-3 this season. They've had one close game. Lord Central Catholic, they continue to roll. We've had them on the show twice, and they've won both of those times. Nice win over Sterling last week. And Kyle Francois, who keeps getting things done in the backfield for him. Lord Central Catholic really looking good.
And this is a district opener, Class D1, District 1. Omaha Christian Academy, they average about 40 points per game, but they give up about 70. So that's something to watch there tonight. Also, Auburn Falls City. I already said that. Auburn and Falls City is Eric Chamberlain will be there. Falls City, record-wise, off to a pretty good start. Auburn, not so much. And just be interesting to see how things turn out. We haven't had either of these two teams on this year, and just want to get a look at them, get a gauge of them, and see how things go there between Auburn and Falls City. Bedford at Pleasantville tonight is a Class A District 8 matchup. This is round 2 for Bedford of 3 rounds of very important games, like kind of playoff matchups in terms of, we think they're going to make the playoffs anyway, just where they will end up.
Yeah, Bedford coming off a tough loss last week, double overtime to Earlham, and they just can't seem to solve that Earlham team. Pleasantville, on the other hand, is really good, and you look at a team that had a lot of success in baseball, seeing that if that's carrying over. Zeb Adrian, a name that is familiar if you know baseball, he's doing some good things at the quarterback position.
Can't solve Earlham. They had the game won.
Close.
They had the game won, so. I think they can solve them. They're going to be all right. Nottoway Valley at Mount Air is another A District 8 game. Brett Ruggles. Mount Air has not given up a point in their 2 district games. They've scored 104 points. 104-0. That's pretty good, right? So Nottoway Valley, they're playing again with the freshman quarterback. They lost Jackson Lamb for the year. His brother Spencer's playing. They like to rely on Brennan Whelan behind in the backfield, but if you get behind, it's hard to run the ball. You got to try to stick to it, but they're just kind of numbers wise, and with Jackson Lamb out, it's tough. And Mount Air, they just got a load of different guys. Cal Doughton had about 30 yards per carry last week. A couple of other guys had about 15 to 20 yards per carry. So it'll be interesting to see if Mount Air can keep that rolling. And they really like how their two non-district games against the 2A Albia and 2A Shenandoah, they feel like that's really helping them out, as it did last year. On we go to Class A District 1, where Riverside is at Logan Magnolia. Kent Ponslow.
And you got a Logan Magnolia team coming off a huge win. They beat previously #1 in Class A Audubon last week. I really like the way Logan Magnolia came out after halftime. Audubon had that big Hail Mary touchdown right before the halftime buzzer. Logan Magnolia comes out and they score a couple quick touchdowns there in the third quarter, put the game away. They really spread the ball around well between all of their backs with their wishbone. Riverside, they're dealing with some injuries. Last week they were able to finally get on the scoreboard last week. They put up 14 points against St. Albert, so maybe starting to figure some things out with that offense.
Bedford can't solve Earlham. Bedford fans, get him. They had the game won. On we go to, we continue on with A District 1. I can't get that one out of my head. So into wins and losses. I mean, the game was won. The teams are so matched. Can't solve them. We'll see. Maybe they'll play again this year. Tri-Center at St. Albert is another game in A District 1. St. Albert, of course, the team you just mentioned, beat Riverside. They got they got a punt return, kickoff return from Eli Finn last week. Didn't use Glenn Bertelson at all in the backfield. I know he was had a couple of receptions, so he was there, and maybe just trying to get some other guys some time. And this is a Tri-Center team that has really struggled. They had, the early season blowout losses to Underwood and AHSTW. Played a little better against Maple Valley than last week. Maybe took a step back against another good Westwood team. So it's just, just got to keep plugging away if you're Tri-Center. Try to improve each and every week. And same for St. Albert. They've definitely probably don't feel like they have the whole world solved just yet either as well. Another game in that district, Maple Valley Anthenoto at Audubon. Let's Marvin Gaines and get it on.
This is probably one of your favorite players. Marvin Gaines from Maple Valley Anthenoto went crazy last week with 339 yards rushing on the ground. He just finds ways to get it done. And when he's on the field, Maple Valley's offense can be really electric. And you've got an Audubon team who's coming off the loss, talked about their loss to Logan Magnolia. See what they do when they're responding from a loss. It's the first time they've had to do it.
Yeah, and Kenny Larrabee will have reports from that one. Marvin Gaines, that'll be a tough one to stop. Different animal, though. Logan Magnolia versus Maple Valley Anthenoto. So, and they did get a good dose of trying to stop really good ground game last week. KMA Manning's at AHSTW. Brian's game of the week in Avoca tonight. So that's a Class 1A District 1 game. And this is going to be a lot of fun. Two teams that love to run the football. They're physical. They got great coaching staffs. AHSTW, though, I think just maybe has a little more to turn to. This past Friday night, they had 8 different guys They scored 8 touchdowns. 8 different guys scored touchdowns. 6 rushing, 2 receiving. They just have a lot of different guys they can turn to. IKM Manning. They're going to rely on Kyle Wagner, Ridge Mulbauer, Jared Volstead out on the outside as well. AHSTW definitely going to be ready for that. And watch in the middle, Tamron McGurran, one of the best defensive linemen in the area. Watch out for that AHSTW stud there for McGurran, a 3-year starter. 1A1 matchup with Trainer at Underwood. Keith Christensen has updates from that one in Underwood. 4-0. Trainer on a 2-game losing streak.
And Underwood just keeps rolling. This team is crazy. We've talked about so many of their weapons through the season. Talk about guys like Nick Peterson, who's their quarterback, Tyler Kahn, Isaiah Humphrey. Then Colin Upstreet last week really put on a nice performance at the receiver spot. Underwood's a really good team. Trainer, they're coming off of a loss that had to sting a little bit last week to Missouri Valley. They've still got something going on the offensive side of the ball. They can still put up points. The question is, can they stop that high-powered Eagles attack? It's been hard for anybody to stop that attack.
Can anybody stop that? How do you spell Upstreet?
That would be OPSVEDT, something like that.
You missed a T in there, but good try. A for effort right there. Let's go to 1A District 8, Southwest Valley at Woodward Granger with Matt Bew giving us updates from that matchup. One thing I was really surprised with looking at BC More rankings, the computer rankings, objective rankings, no bias involved at all, was that Southwest Valley is the 4th-rated team in that 1A District 8. I feel, and you got Panorama and Van Meter, which are really great teams, and then the rest of them are just grouped together, like from 37 to 45. That's the rest of the teams in there, and Southwest Valley is the 4th team, and they're favored in that to win over Woodward Granger. I want to see it. I mean, I want to see it, obviously. I just, we haven't seen much from Southwest Valley. They beat Clarinda Academy early on. They played Bedford pretty good, though. Then they've had, Underwood and Panorama, which they've played a tough schedule. So, is that going to help them? We'll find out, I think, later on tonight. Chance Cobb and company trying to get the victory there. On we go to 4A. This is a 4A district matchup. District 3, the Battle of Abraham Lincoln, Des Moines, and Council Bluffs.
Another good game at CB Stadium. You get here. Abraham Lincoln, they've been a little up and down this season, dealing with some injuries here and there. See if they can get back on the right track. The Rail Splitters on the other side, the Des Moines Lincoln Rail Splitters, led by Will McIlvain, their quarterback. He's thrown for over 700 yards this season, so they'll put the ball up in the air, and should be some points scored in this one.
And that is going to be Tom Moore at CB Stadium for us there. Yeah, I think Des Moines Lincoln, they had a lot of young guys last year slinging it around a bunch, and now they're kind of, they're 3-1? 3-1 on the season, yeah. On to our another 3A8 game. This is a 7 o'clock start because Atlantic, again, can't field the freshman team. Harlan at Atlantic. Harlan is got to be very, frustrated and angry and motivated to get back out on the field. After the way the game ended last week, just can't solve Dallas Center Grimes, right? A fluke punt return gets it done. No, that's not the fluke punt return. The game was going to overtime. Great play by a great player. Doesn't mean Harlan's worse than Dallas Center Grimes. They could meet up again, totally different result. But what I'm saying is Harlan's motivated to get back out on the field. And Atlantic, very down year, looking to rebuild. They're 1-3. Harlan's 3-1. Jason Hyde, that might get away from Atlantic very early. 7:30 kick for Glenwood at Crescent Orient Maxburg. Holy moly, this is going to be a fun game because it's going to tell us everything I think we learned a lot about Glenwood last week with Winterset, but we're going to learn a lot more tonight with Brian Bertini and Creston.
Big opportunity here for Glenwood to show that they are for real. We know they're good. This is to show that they are really for real. Colton Wilwerding, he kind of leads the way for that offense. He's such a dual threat running that offense. And then for Crescent Orient Maxburg, you look at Maurizio Honkenecht, who is still growing in this offense. Chase Schultz, who just he turns out 200-yard games like it's nothing. And this is going to be a fun one. One thing to watch: Creston last week they had to play against Derek Whipple for Greene County, the dual threat quarterback. Yeah, it did not go well. So see if they learned anything from the game film, help them try to solve Colton Wilwerding.
Don't really know Greene County's scheme-wise. I don't know if maybe it's more spread out than what they'll see with Glenwood, who's, a flexbone type team. So, but they do spread them out. They have a lot of weapons. Dowling Catholic at Lewis Central. 7:30 kick for a 4A District 2 game. District 2 opener. Steve Irvin. This is a rematch from last year's playoff battle, which Lewis Central played such a great game. And Lewis Central's playing great coming in. What's Dowling doing? Well, they just knocked off top-ranked Valley last week. So, if you're Lewis Central, maybe this is a little bit of a trap game for Dowling, going on the road after an emotional, huge rivalry win over the best team in the state. Maybe Lewis Central got to get out early and play them. You got to get out early and make some plays. By the way, Kenny McMahon has added another threat to his arsenal. He had caught a couple balls last week too, so he's running, he's throwing, and he's receiving. So once in a while, you'll see the two quarterbacks on the field at the same time, and that'll be a lot of fun to see how this one goes. Dowling is loaded, no doubt about it, but Lewis Central, maybe they could sneak up on this. Probably, are they number one in the state now? Number one in the state, according to a lot of polls. So that's the rundown of the 22 games. So what's your game of the week?
My game, we just talked about it, Glenwood and Creston. That one has got bells written all over. This is going to be a fun one. You've got some offensive weapons on both sides. You've got a Glenwood team that is in a spot that I don't know if they're not that familiar with it. It's been a long time since they've been 4-0, and they get a shot to put themselves in the top of the district.
Well, it'd been 1990 since 3-0. I think it's 70s since 4-0. Speaking of long time since 4-0, that's where my game is. Page County Super Bowl, and I can't believe you overpassed that game. You probably knew I wanted it anyway. Thank you, appreciate that. Shenandoah 4-0, Clarinda just 1-3, but Clarinda's played a tough schedule. They played AHSTW, they played East Sac County, two very physical running teams. Shenandoah is physical and runs the football. Clarinda's got to figure it out, or it could be a long night. And for Shenandoah, they got to stop fumbling the football when they're going in for a score. They could have, I won't say 4, maybe 3 out of the 4 could be blowout victories so far this year. So, they could be a 4-0 and be like, yeah, look at us. We've got an unbelievable point differential. But they're still 4-0 is 4-0. They'll take the wins as they come. So avoid the turnovers if you're Shenandoah. If you're Clarinda, you gotta stop that run. And I'm looking forward to seeing if either one of those two things can happen. If neither of those two happen, man, we got a toss-up. If both happen, we still have a toss-up. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oops. Are you ready to do it?
I'm ready to do it.
Let's do it.